I never thought working at a McDonald's could feel isolating, not with the constant ebb and flow of people. The lunch crowd was a blur of smiles and chatter, families with impatient kids, office workers juggling fries and spreadsheets, and teenagers staking claims to their booths for hours. I liked that chaos. It kept my mind busy. But amidst the whirlwind of the lunch rush, I began to notice him. He wasn't strange in the obvious sense. No peculiar clothing or odd behavior to make him stand out. Just a man who consistently claimed the corner booth by the window. It was easy to overlook him amid the crowds, until I realized I couldn't. Each day, as visitors swarmed the dining area, he sat there, blending in perfectly with the noise and motion. It wasn't his presence that caught my attention, but the strange absence that surrounded him. No one glanced his way or bumped into his seat when passing by. He never spoke, never moved aside for anyone. He was just there. I didn't tell the other staff at first. Maybe I was imagining things, or maybe my fatigue was catching up with me. I decided it was harmless to watch. Some days, he'd sit for hours, his scruffy backpack perched neatly on the seat beside him. His face was calm, almost blank, as though he didn't absorb the energy of the crowd. Occasionally, I'd catch glimpses of him scanning the room, not like someone people-watching, but as if he were searching for something. I tried approaching him once during the lull between waves of customers. "Hello?" I said brightly, stepping to the edge of his booth. He turned to face me, his expression polite, but unreadable. His voice was soft, disarming. "Yes?" "Oh, I fumbled, suddenly unsure of what to say. "I just wanted to check if everything's okay. Do you need anything?" "No, thank you," he replied, his tone final. Then he turned back to the window, dismissing me completely. Something about it made my skin prickle, but I ignored the feeling. After all, he wasn't bothering anyone. That evening, as I scrubbed down the counters, I kept glancing over my shoulder. The booth was empty now, yet it felt far from vacant. I decided then, I couldn't shake the feeling anymore. Tomorrow, I would ask Cindy and the others about him. Maybe someone else had noticed too. I couldn't let it go. By the next day, the man had carved a space not just into the corner booth, but into my thoughts. He arrived promptly during the lunch rush, his movements so synchronized with the crowd that he almost seemed part of the noise. Almost. But as the minutes ticked by, I couldn't unsee it, the absence of acknowledgement from others. Cindy walked by his table, with trays of food meant for other patrons, her eyes gliding past him as though the booth were empty. A group of teenagers claimed the table next to him, laughing and cracking open their sodas, yet none of them even glanced his way, not even when one of their backpacks brushed against the edge of his seat. I watched him closer than ever. He wasn't just sitting anymore. His gaze was darting around the restaurant, following movements with a strange precision. It wasn't the casual observation of someone bored and passing time. It was deliberate, calculated, like he was tracing invisible patterns. The normalcy of the restaurant acted as a smokescreen, hiding his presence. I decided to act. I grabbed Cindy during a break, lowering my voice to avoid drawing attention. "Hey, do you know anything about that guy who's always in the corner booth?" Cindy frowned, confused. "What guy?" I felt my stomach tighten. "You know, the one with the backpack. He comes in every day. I saw him yesterday when you were bringing the fries to table 7. She squinted toward the dining area but shook her head. "You sure you're not imagining things?" "I didn't see anyone there." Her words hit me harder than they should have. She wasn't joking. I could tell by the way her brows knit together in genuine concern. But how could she not notice? He was right there, wasn't he? I spent the rest of the shift trying to convince myself that I was overthinking, that maybe the crowds were playing tricks on me. But when he rose from his seat at 4 p.m., slipping out of the restaurant with the same unhurried ease, I couldn't ignore the knot of unease in my chest. No one watched him leave. No one even seemed to notice the empty booth he left behind. By the time closing came around, I decided I couldn't keep this to myself anymore. Tomorrow, I'd ask the manager if we had any records of him. His face should have been logged in the cameras, right? But the thought nagged at me. Why did I feel like I was already searching for answers I didn't want to find? The following day, I arrived at work with a pit in my stomach. The man's quiet departure the previous afternoon should have brought me some relief, but instead, it only deepened my unease. I kept replaying the moment in my head, the way he stood, calm and accepting, as though he knew he'd return. The lunch rush came and went, and for the first time in weeks, I didn't see him in his usual spot. But his absence didn't feel like a victory. It felt like a warning. By evening, my curiosity had become unbearable. I couldn't shake the nagging questions. Who was he? Why was I the only one who saw him? Cindy's words from the other day echoed in my mind. You sure you're not imagining things? And for a fleeting moment, I wondered if she was right. After the last customer left and the restaurant fell silent, I decided to check the security footage. If anyone could see him, it would be the cameras. My hands trembled as I clicked through the recorded clips, fast-forwarding through hours of lunchtime chaos. I paused the playback when I reached the moment he arrived yesterday, or when I thought he arrived. On the footage, the dining area looked just as I remembered. Customers jostling for tables, kids chasing each other around chairs, and me at the counter, preparing orders. My heart began to race as I scanned for him, searching for the familiar shape of his figure sliding into the corner booth. But the booth was empty. I frowned, rewound the footage, and played it again. Still empty. There was no man, no backpack, no one at all in that seat. A chill prickled up the back of my neck. I fast-forwarded to the moment I had approached him. In my memory, I could still hear my own voice trembling as I asked him to leave. But on the footage, I wasn't speaking to anyone. I was standing alone at the booth, gesturing to empty space, my words lost in the hum of the restaurant. I stared at the screen, my breath shallow. Desperate for answers, I went back further, pulling up clips from the previous days. Each time it was the same. The booth remained unoccupied, a lonely, untouched spot in the bustling restaurant. And yet, there I was, talking, standing, interacting with someone who wasn't there. The realization hit me like ice water. He wasn't just invisible to the other customers. He wasn't there at all. As I shut down the computer, the weight of my discovery pressed against my chest like a physical force. I glanced toward the corner booth one last time before leaving for the night. It sat in perfect stillness, bathed in the dim glow of the overhead lights. Empty, unremarkable. Yet I couldn't shake the feeling that he was still watching, from somewhere.